Yo, what's up guys, this is Mosen here with MTA 52 for the 22nd of February 2019. And we're back today. How's everybody doing? Have a wonderful afternoon. Let me take a sip of coffee here. We're on our alt warlock that we need to bring up to grind some herbs. And it's not the topic today though. Today, I wanted to go into... I wanted to talk first of all about a comment that came below one of our first MTAs actually. And it was from Cheese Weasel. And basically he said, my core philosophy behind Loot Council is that if you stick around long enough and are constantly helping us progress through the content, that you will get the loot you seek. It's just going to require patience. And this was, I told you last MTA that we wanted to, I wanted to talk about the Loot Council again, like a couple of things that we noticed that we changed around a little bit. We've been going with Loot Council for a while now, so I picked Cheese Weasel's comment that actually fit pretty well right now. So yeah, we used that for a while now, or we've been using it for a while, for actually 3-4 years, and it's always working pretty good for us. It's working out pretty well for us. Now, then again, you know, we're always been the officers, right? So of course it works for us. But usually you can see it doesn't really work when you have a lot to do, or a lot of negative feedback that you need to deal with as an officer. Then you really find out that, okay, something here is not working with the system. People feel like they aren't being treated right. Makes sense, right? So if you always hear, hey man, this is unfair and blah, there's always, well, if you always, if you hear a lot of feedback like, this is not fair, this is bullshit, blah blah blah, why did he get the item, then you can usually say, okay, there's something wrong with the system, we might need to check on where the problem is. That being said though, there are a lot of people, or there are usually some single people that will whine no matter what you do, right? So it's not about being fair for them. So what is fair in a loot council, right? It's usually about I didn't get the item versus you know, it wasn't fair. It's not really about the fair thing. So if, you know, we would have asked like who should have gotten the item then? You know, and the answer would be, well, not him, not him, not him. So basically only you. Yeah, basically only me. No, I don't want to say that. Right, so you always have people that cry, and that's normal. You can't really please anyone. No loot, you know, no loot system is really perfect at all, ever. But we had people that really actually were looking for DKP, and they were, I think, a little bit surprised when we said, like, we even had people that wanted to join the guild as core member because they said they know the content and they have a right to be core member right as they join, because they wanted loot. And that's exactly what our system prevents, right? We keep these people out, and they can take the loot and then never log on again or leave into another guild in some other guild. I'd rather keep those guys on the market for other guilds for the taking, and pick people that, as Cheese Weasel said, are have a little bit of patience, right? It should be about getting into a community and you know, becoming part of a guild, really, much rather than I want to be in and instantly get loot. You're getting to get, you know, and as a general rule of thumb, what Cheese Weasel says, like, if you're patient and generally the less you complain about shit, the more you're gonna get loot. It's not like people always act like Loot Council will make you not get any loot forever until you're core member, which is just not true, obviously, right? It's not true. There's always loot that nobody wants anymore, or people already have, or you can roll on it because it's not a high priority item. It's more, I think it's more about you know, relaxing a little bit and trying to become part of the guild. But this is my kind of advice for people that might be new. You go into a guild with Loot Council, and this can mean a whole bunch of things, right? Loot Council can also mean that there's never any rolls. We, for our part, we usually roll some stuff, and we have some locked tier, locked high class items, high tier items, not the tier sets, but like Locker Mirror or Ragnaros loot, the really biz stuff, right? That we want to keep that. There's a couple of those that we keep for people that have been with us for a very long time, and that have or that have a certain rank, right? But we also want to give something to people who are performing very well, and they aren't there for a long time, right? So sometimes they can also roll. So it really depends sometimes. If somebody's been showing a lot of effort, he's a nice guy, but he's fresh, it would be unfair if somebody that has been with us for a long time gets prio on everything. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel rewarding. So sometimes we just allow certain people. But Loot Council, you always have the freedom to make a decision, right? As an officer, and you can say, okay, let's, tonight, this is the first of this crazy item that we have. Only the people that have been with us for a long time can roll, just to give the first item to reward the people that have, the veterans. And then the next one, you can get people in that have been, showing really good performance, have the same rank, and yeah, you can do a whole bunch of things. You don't even have to roll anything, right? I know there's a lot of loot councils with that, I've been in guilds that have just always assigned the item right directly to a person, rather than letting anybody roll. And there was an item dropped, and they said, okay, this guy, this guy, this guy. There was like kind of a rotation, and so they just gave it to somebody. And I think that is sometimes a little bit problematic, because you never know what's going to happen. But also, you really filter out anybody that's just in there for the loot. You should be in there for the community, the fun, and the progress, right? But I think a little bit of rolling out items keeps it a little fresh and keeps a little thrill to the game of, a little bit of this gamble thing, how it was back in the day. This cool item dropped, and then you have like 2 people roll for it, or 3, or whoever would be eligible to roll. And you have a little bit of gamble in there, right? And then boom, somebody gets it, and it adds a lot of fun to it too. Some other guilds use rotations, right? They have a set rotation, who's going to receive what item when. I've never really been a fan of that, because to me that just meant, okay, I don't need to show up I'm just not gonna show up for the next 2 weeks and ask that one rogue if he already got his sword. Once he received it, I'm gonna show again, right? That's like, and I don't know, it just feels like 2 more of those swords and then I get mine. It feels way more frustrating, and then, but that's up to any raid lead. Oh yeah, what like Cheese Weasel said, it's all about that patience and just not being a pain in the ass of the raid lead, and you will receive, trust me. I thought this is a very kind of important piece of advice for maybe new players, right? New players sometimes struggle with the loot systems, because that's something I realized yesterday, I think, when we had somebody that came from the current retail, from like the current add-on, and the loot there is completely different. It's all personal loot kind of type of thing, and it's been very different for years now. And so I can see them struggle when it comes to loot and how this all works. Not everybody has started in vanilla. And I think that, DKP is pretty straightforward. You earn points for certain things, and you can spend the points. But Loot Council can be, I think, sometimes a little bit confusing for some people. And so I want to make another of these MTAs for maybe some fresh players or whatever, and just give you the advice. Usually, if you just perform and you do not even do what's asked of you, right? It's just be on time, be a little bit prepared, listen up on Discord, and maybe deal more damage than the tank, and don't be in the bottom 25. And you shall probably receive items pretty soon. So, usually it's about patience and try to become part of the community. And look, if you don't like the community and you realize, okay, this guild I don't really like becoming part of the community, but I still want items, and find another guild. It's no problem. right? It's better for everybody if you just find another guild where you actually are happy. And if you're the person that likes to PvP and you want to come in and just grab one item, particular item from each raid, go look for a DKP guild. Makes way more sense for you then, because you can go and get that one item. I think that's enough for the loot council. Thanks Cheese Weasel for the comment. Keep them coming in all the MTAs. I'll pick them up and we'll talk about about your questions and whatever you say, comments. Next thing I wanted to talk about today was Mad ZG. That just killed me yesterday. Every time we're like having a fresh 60, you're kind of excited to go into ZG. I want to talk about why ZG is such a drag. And I don't even know what to do about it. I just want to rant about ZG a little bit, right? ZG is such a shithole, and man, like at the first times when you have a new character, it's always still fun a little bit. But once you get into that a little bit more, right, you just start to realize, oh man, this place is such a drag, and the loot is actually pretty shit for the time you invest. And I know, look, I've done very fast runs, and I've done very slow and dragged out runs, right? So I know how it is if you struggle in there with like a group if you have a lot of people that don't know stuff. And I get it, like the loot from the last two bosses is pretty good. And that is true, but okay. Can I not turn in the quest here now? My goodness. Whatever. The problem with the ZG that I have is, first of all, the rep grind is just atrocious. Right? I spent probably 400 gold again to just bomb some Bijous because I couldn't stand it anymore. I wanted these shoulder enchants, which you get at Exalted, right? Spell power, healing, or attack power. And the grind there is just so atrocious. It takes so long, and whatever. But like even just the dungeon itself, right? The gear you're aiming at is okay. It's okay. Sometimes there's pretty good items, yes, I get it. But there's other pre-raid bis items from dungeons, really. And I know it's supposed to be a 20-man dungeon, and that's why it should be more challenging. I've been running through there very quick. I've had groups where you have a lot of fresh people that don't know what's going on, and it just took forever, and it was just such a drag and such a pain. What is this now? Real quick. And there's so many things that can go wrong in that dungeon, and I think that's exactly the problem for new if you go in there with like 2, 3, 4 people that have never really done that or don't really speedrun stuff. There's the trash in there is just so deadly at parts, and the berserker just you need to rest. What is this crap? You need to rest so many times, and you need to do so many things that it is really the berserkers, for example. Okay, this mob is fucking bugged. There's so many things in there that can go wrong, really. That was a waste of time, so I'm just gonna throw these away. The berserkers just switch to random thing. I know how to tank the berserkers, right? You put one tank in there, you leave one tank in the raid, and then he takes it over, takes it out, goes into Bursy Sense, can't be feared, and then you can do that for sure. But there's even just one in that small mob, right? There's so many things that can go wrong. And the axe throwers, right? If somebody just doesn't pay attention, everybody melts and dies. There's so much trash in there. The spider part, right? Where your whole screen turns into, basically a muddy... I don't even know what that is. Who got the idea at Blizzard that, okay, let's put spiders in there that make you drop your weapon for 2 minutes. It's just alone that, right? And then your whole screen is gonna be completely smushed into some weird sauce and weird stuff until you go to the video options and then you turn off full screen glow effect and then you can see again, right? Like, how do you get that idea as a developer, right? That's my most urgent question. Who had the idea to make your screen completely you can't even see anything anymore? How do you get that idea? And then you need to go to the options and click a certain effect to make that go away in a raid, in an AoE pull in a raid. Absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. I don't. Just thinking back now, if they would do something like this nowadays, absolutely crazy, right? People would lose their minds. It's a nice gimmick, I get it, but if you've done it 100 times, man, it's just so annoying. And then you need to die, basically, to get rid of that effect. I don't even know. But, you know, as I said, I just want to rant here a little bit, and maybe you can rant with me about ZG. And you know, there's more examples. These trash mobs that put curses on you that the physical damage on the tank is increased by 500, you know, by 550 or whatever it is. Of course, you need to decurse it. I get it, but all these patrols, you know, all these close packs of mobs together. If one guy fears somewhere, people get feared into the next pack with another fear guy and blood drinkers that heal up and extras that just AoE everything down. I know how to counter all these mechanics. I know that. It's just for that gear that you get in there. You know, it can become such a shit show if you have fresh players, and I don't really know what they thought about that, or what they thought when they made it. If you take into comparison AQ20, for example, which is a completely different deal. There's like structured trash, it makes sense, kind of, right? There's sometimes hard trash, you need to know what it is. To be fair, AQ20 is pretty easy if you know the tactics, but the bosses in ZG aren't the problem either. That's the easiest part. And it's just way more compact and less weird, cancerous trash mechanics and weird stuff. And even there, the rep is a grind, like an atrocious grind. But you know, that's just how it is. I just do AQ20 so I just prefer AQ20 so much more than over ZG. I just always bomb my B-Juice to get done with it. And yesterday we were pretty quick, right? We were pretty quick, but even then, I was just, oh my god, when does this fucking dungeon end? And I can't do it anymore. I'm pretty done with ZG. I'd rather skip out on the loot there. Of course, on official servers, I'm gonna go in there again, but you know. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much. In the next one, we're gonna talk about my top 5 gold farming spots and in a little bit more detail. So get ready for that. In case you haven't seen my gold farming tip videos yet, and we're just gonna go a little bit quicker over the what I think are my personal top 5 gold farming spots and why, right? And you can actually make really good money there. That's usually what I do when I'm fucking broke, and then just go and do one of these, and you are usually back on track, and you can go trade on the auction house if you like. For now, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna fire up the stream in a second, and yeah, got some videos coming on the German channel as well. It's been going pretty good. We're getting close to 500 subs. I want to thank everybody, also all the new subs in the last weeks. Thank you for that. Thank you for the support. And leaving a sub actually, so we can make it 500 in the next maybe week or so. And I'd love to see you guys on Twitch. I think you'll find it. It's just twitch.tv/Mosen LEL, Mosen Lel, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.